Green over brown. India's climate goals are on track, but future investments must be sustainable. The India's climate goals are on track, which means that the plans which India is currently taking up right now are very good. All of them are very well planned, and all of them are promising a future green India. But future investments must be sustainable. But from now on, the decisions which India take towards the future of India are also very important, and those decisions should be taken should be taken properly. Should be taken properly that the progress or development of India will be sustainable. India asserted that at the virtual climate ambition summit co-convened by the UN to mark 5 years of the Paris Agreement, that is well on its way to not just fulfilling its nation pledge on emissions reduction, but also exceeding the commitment. So, India is one of the countries who were in the meat of the Paris Agreement, which happened 5 years ago. And now, when the 5 years were completed, they again gathered around, and the results of the countries which have planned to reduce their emissions were more than enough, which means that the performance of all the countries was very good, that they have crossed their goals, and they have achieved much more good results. um, the performance outlined by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi rests primarily on the estimated present reduction of emissions in intensity by 21% over 2005 levels, and the two pillars of the renewables energy and higher forest cover. So, if we talk about India, which is also one of the countries which have participated in the meet, India has achieved three remarkable things. It had done some progress in the renewable sources of energy. It has increased its forest cover, and most importantly, it has reduced the emissions of greenhouse gases by 21% from 2005. Indeed, the Emissions Gap Report 2020 for the UNEP includes India among 9 G20 members who are on track to achieve their unconditional commitments under the Paris Pact. Their unconditional commitments under the Paris Pact, based on pre COVID 19 projections. Um, so, as I said, India has achieved three remarkable things, and it's not just India who's saying this, because and India is saying the truth, because even another organization known as UNEP says that India is one of the top 9 countries which have achieved the results. Um, Significantly, the G20 bloc as a whole, responsible for 78% of greenhouse gas emissions, GHG, was not expected to meet its pledges, but some countries and the EU as a group announced higher ambition at the summit. So significantly, the G20 bloc as a whole, responsible for 878 greenhouse gas emissions. So, if we consider the G20 as a whole, or as one full body, then it has produced 78% of the 78% of the greenhouse gases in the world. Was not expected to meet its pledges, but some countries. Because of the reason that it produced 78% of the greenhouse gases in the world, no one believed that all the countries in G20 would successfully achieve their goals. But some countries like India, the EU or the European Union they have managed to achieve more than what they have committed to. The brief reduction in global GHG emissions brought about by the pandemic has given all countries an opportunity to review their development trajectories. Because of this pandemic, which has done a lot of bad to the economy, but it has given some time, a break, or a period of slowdown for the government to understand what is happening, and to take some time so that they could carefully plan their future investments. The unprecedented event has enabled them to deploy an extraordinary fiscal stimulus for rehabilitation of economies, estimated at $12 trillion globally, making green growth a possibility. So, The economic the the estimation of the rehab of the economies overall the world is estimated to be 12 is estimated to be 12 trillion US dollars, and that's a huge amount um, which could help all the countries in going ahead in the terms of green. India faces a particular challenge in moving its pandemic rehab spending away from the traditional brown sector policies aligned with the fossil fuel used to green territory. While all the other countries are doing well, India has one major problem. Until now, India has mostly depended upon the brown sector, which means the fossil fuels, petrol, diesel, coal, and etc. But from now on, it must shift to green sector, like using renewable sources of energy, like solar energy. But that's a huge step for India because India has barely made progress in the development of any renewable sources of energy. At the recent summit, Mr. Modi took credit for expansion of the forests, which, according to national pledge under the Paris Agreement, will serve as a carbon sink of 2.5 billion to 3 billion tons of carbon dioxide, equivalent by 2030. So, Mr. Modi took the credit for the expansion of forests. As I said, India has achieved three remarkable things. One of those was the extension of the forest canopy, and because of that, as trees absorb the carbon dioxide and release oxygen, so they reduce the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So because of that, if we the Paris met it estimated that by 2030, due to India's achievements, the carbon dioxide level will be reduced by 3 billion tons. This is a key goal given that it has multiple benefits, um, protecting biodiversity, influencing climate system, and providing resources for all the communities. So the reduction of carbon dioxide by 2.5 billion or 3 billion tons is it is actually remarkable, and and even that by 2000, and even that by 2030. So this can actually help in many things. It could help to protect it could help to protect the biodiversity. It can influence the climate systems, and it could also and it could also provide resources for the other countries. But it is fraught with uncertainty. So this process is good and nice, but the way in which this needs to be executed is very risky because a single mistake could ruin everything. The center has questioned the veracity of the state afforestation data and said only a fourth of the claims they have made were deemed credible. So, the center has done some research and it asked the state about about the afforestation information, which is about the growing of plants information. And of all the things that the state said to the center, only four statements were actually true, while remaining all of them were just fake news to impress the center. Clearly, without a cohesive policy on verifiable afforestation, the carbon sink approach may yield poor dividends, with questions hanging over the spending. So, if India continues to if the Indian states if they continue to do in this manner, then even though if India spends so much on the carbon sink sector, if our efforts are in this way, the results won't be looking so good. Achieving 100 gigawatts of solar power capacity within the overall renewable goals from 36 gigawatts now needs a steep scale up that must actively promote rooftop solar installations. So India's goal of achieving energy by solar energy is 100 gigawatts. That's a huge way to go because we are now just at 36 gigawatts, and for that we need to start installing solar panels on the rooftops of houses as soon as possible. there is little evidence that this is a high priority for most states, and most states are not even caring about this. Transport related emissions, which are a major component of the whole, have risen sharply in the unlock phase of pandemic as people prefer personal vehicles, but the issue received little support from the states which failed to reorder cities for cycling and pedestrianization. So one of the main reasons why the emissions of India have risen more in the past years, not now, because the emissions right now have decreased so much. In the past year, were because of the sharply increasing emissions of the vehicles, and that's mainly because everyone used to want their private vehicles, and that's understandable. But at least the states need to work on them, and they need to convince the people to to be pedestrians, or to encourage them to walk on streets and also do cycling if possible. Large scale agriculture insurance against climate disasters also needs attention. In the year remains before countries meet at the UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow in 2021, India needs to focus on future emissions and plan green investments that qualify for global climate funding. So this is the main theme of the whole editorial. So there is again going to be a green meet, or a UN climate change conference meet in 2021, which will be conducted at Glasgow. And for that, India needs to start preparing qualifiable reasons and qualifiable plans, so that it could qualify, and then it could help other countries, and it could also get help from other countries, which is a major help for both of the countries. Thank you.